Good afternoon, Mr. Redmond and peers. My presentation today is on deadly theatre, a chapter from the book The Empty Space, from director and producer Peter Brook. First, I'd like to tell you about what exactly deadly theatre is. Deadly theatre is one of the four main types of theatre, along with rough, holy, and immediate. This kind of theatre is usually known as bad theatre, and unfortunately is the most common type used. But what is theatre? Well, Peter Brook states that a man walks across an empty space while someone is watching him is all that is needed for an act of theatre to be engaged. This is where deadly theatre comes in. Deadly theatre is a production being performed, although there was a right kind of way to perform it. This is what categorizes it as bad, because it is boring and lacking a sense of originality and experimentation with creativity. To further explain, here's an example. Take a look at the part monologue from the book. Okay, so now, your initial reaction, I'm guessing, with this monologue, without any hints, is that this was some kind of princess talking to her prince, right? No, wrong. That right there is deadly theatre, the cliche approach, the normal. This is why it's called bad theatre, because it's boring and expected. In fact, this monologue was from a villainess somewhat stalking a guy that turned out to be a monster in the end. And that's so much more exciting, don't you agree? I mean, sadly, other societies' entertainers don't see it this way. An actor lacking creativity and following someone else's way of acting is a big part of what makes theatre deadly. The actor or actress is reading the script and is taking the role without experiencing the character and is using the first assumption that comes to mind, basically resorting to stereotypical. This actor or actress isn't engaging the audience or impacting them in any way. This is another important key to which makes theatre deadly. As for a director, their part in this unfortunate theatre is that they create what the audience have already seen and loved, thinking that they're going to get the same reaction. However, that's not the case. The director is being cliché and boring the audience. The tragedy continues with the critics of the production, encouraging deadly theatre. For example, Shakespeare. His work is known all over the world, but when directors decide to take it and form it differently within their own works and interpretation with twists, critics would go against it and say it's far too off the meaning or too different. Yet they encourage the plain old works of Shakespeare that has been done over and over again, saying it's traditional or faithful to the original, therefore encouraging other directors to do the exact same thing. Instead, critics should be recognizing deadly theatre, and helping the creative minds move away from the mainstream. This chain reaction generally starts with the playwright. That does not use original concepts, but old ones that have worked well in the past, but not going to work well in the future, as it's been repetitive, leaving the director and actor limited to creativity and not much to work with. Lastly, Peter Brook says that the audience is his own worst enemy, for believing that attending a performance or a play is cultured act. However, the audience are mostly the ones left bored and unsatisfied. The audience sets such a high expectation of theatre to be the superior thing, but are let down by the results, according to deadly theatre. Yet Peter Brook exposes that the audience take the plain piece theatre and changes it with their own imagination, deceiving themselves into overestimating the performance, where in fact it was just deadly theatre. Theatre is not supposed to make the audience lie to themselves just to enjoy the performance. Theatre is about engaging the audience into the production in the right way, leaving them to think and wonder. This is the magic of theatre, and this is what Peter Brook is trying to prove through his book, The Empty Space. He is trying to prevent deadly theatre. Thank you.